Guys, there was an article published today by several different news organizations, but one of the ones that published it, the irony here is absolutely insane. Now, there's a website here in Australia called Car Expert. These guys published an article here saying torrent of misinformation killing EV demand, ex-Top Gear host. Now, Car Expert themselves are one of the biggest problems. The irony here is that they have been one of the big contributors to this torrent of misinformation. And then they go and publish this article, truly bizarre. But anyhow, the point is this. This torrent of misinformation is unquestionably causing a lot of people to hold off from buying an electric car. There was an article today in our Australian mainstream media. It was seen by, I think, a couple of million people from the data I can find based on analytics, Google Analytics data. It said, EV prices have fallen so much, residual values have fallen so much that EVs are worth nothing. So I was thinking, oh, fantastic. If this was true, I'll just pick up an EV for free or, for a few $1,000s. You know what? I went on to the major website here showing all the cars for sale in Australia. There's nothing cheap, not even remotely. There's a lot of demand for used EVs, and therefore that story was completely fake. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. And yes, I agree with this ex-Top Gear host. He has said that there is a torrent of stuff from right-wing and vested interests that is holding back the rollout of electric vehicles. Now, I don't agree with that, guys. I don't think it's coming from right-wing or vested interests. It's definitely coming from vested interests, but right-wing, yeah, it's coming from right-wing, but it's also coming from left-wing. It's both wings. Neither wing has any can say that, oh, we're blameless here. We're left wing. We haven't done any of this. They have both sides of the aisle have done this. So let's not get politics involved here. This is the freaking media. This is fossil fuels. And left wing and right wing both benefit from fossil fuels. No one in politics is immune to handouts, to political wrangling. Anyhow, Quentin Willson hosted Top Gear between 1991 and 2001 for 10 years. And with a focus on the used car market, he's become the leader of the British lobby group Fair Charge, which advocates for the rollout of electric cars. He told UK Parliament's Transport Committee it was realistic and achievable to ban the sale of new petrol, diesel and hybrid cars by 2035, but he warned the target could be held back by myths, disinformation and misinformation.
Held back by myths, misinformation and disinformation, and we'll cover these subjects, I'm sure, in more detail as we go on. Consumers need to have confidence in electric cars. They need to want to buy them, because if they don't, manufacturers won't sell them, and there is this self-destructive fulfilling circle where we don't get consumer interest to drive the market forward. As a campaign group, we counted one tabloid newspaper that had 160 continuous anti-EV stories without a break. And we see this also in the broadsheets. So in terms of the technology, the cars work. We have over 1 million electric, battery-only cars and plug-in cars on our roads, and people have happily folded them into their lives, and you see them strobing up and down the motorways. London is now full of them. So long term, their viability as a technology is not in question. What is in question is how we manage consumer sentiment and awareness of the advantages and negatives of electric cars. But I believe that by 2035, if we enact the right policies and the right information for consumers, it will be achievable.
Now, he's right. It's, especially in Britain, completely plausible. They could ban them in 2030 in Britain. It's a small country. Anyway, consumers need to have confidence in electric cars. They need to want to buy them, because if they don't, manufacturers won't sell them, he told the Transport Committee. And there is this self-destructive, fulfilling circle where we don't get consumer interest to drive the market forward. Mr. Willson pointed to 160 continuous anti-EV stories in one newspaper, in one publication, 160 anti-EV stories as an example of how the technology is being held back. I think these publications should be prosecuted. If you just lie constantly, and you mislead people. To be honest, a lot of people can be easily misled. They read stuff in the newspaper and they believe it's true. I have seen so many people post comments, I read it in the news. It's true. It's a true story. That's not how it works, guys. The news isn't facts. It's not called Facts or Us. It's called News or Us, and we'll tell you anything as long as it makes you click. In terms of the technology, the cars work. We have over 1 million electric battery-only cars and plug-in cars on UK roads. People have happily folded them into their lives. And you see them strobing up and down the motorways. London is full of them. So long term, their viability as a technology, it's not in question, he said. What is in question is how we manage consumer sentiment and awareness of the advantages and negatives of electric cars. Now, I don't think there is any real negatives, but anyhow, the UK initially planned to ban internal combustion new car sales in 2030. That was before current Prime Minister Rishi Sunak revised the target in 2023 to 2035. Prime Minister Sunak explained the change of tack as a pragmatic and proportionate correction, as the government did not want to impose unacceptable costs on British families in order to lower greenhouse gas emissions. Now, this unacceptable cost stuff it's really quite ridiculous, because the price of EVs is already it's come down enormously. And by 2030, the price of EVs will actually be lower than the price of internal combustion. I think the problem with a lot of governments is their advisors, they're not really people who have a good knowledge of the EV market, of the technology that is here and the technology that is coming to the market. So they're being advised, they've been given the wrong information. Clearly his advisors are telling him that in 2030, EVs will be significantly more expensive than internal combustion engine cars, and that's why he's making that comment. That's clearly not going to be the case though. Despite the petrol and diesel car ban delay, the UK government is still aiming for the country to be carbon neutral completely by 2050. The move was criticised by a number of brands who complained about the impact on their forward planning and supply chain management. Legacy Automotive's complained. They're basically saying, the UK is going to lose its automotive industry because it's not ready to make EVs. It's not ready for that. Now, the UK has already lost most of its automotive industry anyway, so we can't really blame EVs for that. But realistically, that's still 6 years from now. 6 years from now. Now, I don't actually think these bans are necessary, because I believe consumers by 2030 or 2035, they won't be buying internal combustion because EVs will be so incredibly superior. That's based on all the technology that I'm seeing, and all the technology that keeps on improving. Now, this Top Gear host is saying that a torrent of misinformation is killing EV demand and confusing customers. And he's right. This needs to stop. Governments need to step in and just say, you know what? If you're going to make up claims, you need to actually have some facts to support them. Thanks for watching.